Hey friends, Liz here to invite you to check out our Patreon. That's where we publish extra episodes every other week, and that's also where we will continue any series we're reading. So if you liked our coverage of ACOTAR, Guild, High Mountain Court, or Fourth Wing, check out our Patreon to continue those series along with us. We also let you know what we're reading each month in advance in case you want to read along with us too. There might be a few other surprises throughout the year for our patrons as well. You can get all of this for just $3 a month, so check it out and we would really appreciate the support. Anyway, on to today's episode.
Welcome to Your Safe Space, the podcast your partner, friends, parents, whoever thinks is dirty. Don't have time to read books? Want to understand the jokes and the TikToks? We got you, fam. We're the Spice Traders, and we deal in spicy books. I'm Katie, and I need it to make sense.
I'm Liz, and I'm hypercritical. As always, we start every episode with 3 things. The first is a generic trigger warning. You can find specific triggers for this book in our show notes, so please check those out. Also, we do use foul language and talk a lot about sex. If you have sensitivity to any of this, please give this episode a skip.
Secondly, we talk about books. The whole book, nothing but the book, so help me goddess. If you plan to read this book and don't want something spoiled right now, don't listen to this episode.
Lastly, we acknowledge that a good book can hit you at the wrong time. The views expressed in our discussion are our opinion, and we absolutely don't want to diminish the work and the talent of the authors in our community. That said, we have some notes. So much happens. So, Katie, what are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about part 3 of Avalon Tower by C.N. Crawford. This is going to be our last part for this book, and it will cover chapters 33 onward, and then at the end of this episode, we will cover our ratings. So let's get into it. When we last saw Nia, she was talking about the different trials that they all have to go through for the torques that they get as a part of the Fae spy school that they're all a part of. And she's particularly concerned about the combat trial because she's, again, a regular ass person who has not been trained from birth to like wield a knife or whatever. But before she gets to her combat trial, she has to survive the shadow trial. This is a trial that is always a secret, and it's meant to test students' spycraft. So her entire class is taken to a ruined church in London, close to the Tower of London, and told that an artifact has been hidden in the city and they have to find it. They're told that they are allowed to work in groups or alone, and they'll be graded on how well they implement what they've been learned or what they've been taught at the school to find this prize, whether they find it or not.
It sounds fun.
It sounds like a really cool scavenger hunt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was into it. As Nia and her comrades strategize on what to do, Nia sees Naveen, of all people, the other sentinel, the woman with the fiery red hair that we saw in part 2, over to the side in the shadows and is basically like waving her over. And so Nia's like, guys, give me a second. So she goes to Naveen and finds out that Naveen thinks that this whole shadow trial exercise is a trap because the Fae have found out about it somehow. She tells Nia that she sensed a veil mage in the city and feels like something is off, especially because it's such a brilliant opportunity for the Fae to strike at Camelot while all their cadets are in one place, which seems like not a great idea.
No, so like this was my thought process. Was the shadow trial sounded really fun until Naveen points this out, and I was like, yeah, this shouldn't just be out in public.
Or if it is, you take them in shifts, right? Like the cadets in Iron Flame.
Yeah, and you just do like little runs out, not
everyone in the same place.
Everyone who knows all the things, and they could just destroy them all immediately.
Right. So Nia immediately sees what we see, and she's like, shit, we have to call off this trial. But Naveen tells her that Rythe won't listen. Naveen admits that she was never very good at diplomacy. That was something that her sister Alex used to be really good at. To which I say, is Alex still really dead? I don't know. Is she going to come back in book 2? I still think she might.
I still think she might. And I also did think it was interesting that Nynaeve and Alex are siblings. That was a fun little drop of information.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense because I think Alex was a Sentinel too, and that was why her death was so impactful. But I think there's something interesting there still that's left that not discovered.
Yeah, I kind of hope she comes back.
Me too. So Naveen asks Nia to use her powers to try and hunt the mage down and save lives, and of course Nia agrees. Before they part, Naveen gives Nia an enchanted seashell that allows them to communicate while they split up and search. So basically, remember, technology doesn't work here, so this is literally like an intercom system based on magic.
But it's like legitimately a shell that she shoves in her ear, which sounds really horrible.
Painful as fuck. No thank you.
Yeah. And she says that. She's like, this is not great. She's like human bugs have, like silicone and it's like ear molding. This is just like a snail shell in my ear hole.
You couldn't have enchanted a thing of like clay, like something soft.
Oh, right. Like you have magic. You can't make it comfortable.
Yeah, of course not.
No, it'd be too easy.
So Nia goes back to her clique and convinces them to help as well. Nia decides one last time to try to appeal to Rythe, but that goes just about as well as could be expected. In fact, Rythe tells Nia that she'll be expelled after the shadow trial for her insubordination. Basically, he sees this as her trying to get out of the shadow trial because he has this presupposed notion that she's going to fail.
He's a piece of shit.
He's
I hate
just
him
a
so
piece
much.
of shit. I love what we find out about what's going on in his head later.
I know. It's so vindicating.
So Nia's friends go to find Raphael and other Camelot leadership with more sense, while Nia and Naveen search for the mage. Ultimately, Nia ends up at a fair and feels the presence of the mage. Unfortunately, Tarquin and his lackeys are there too. She feels the veil hum coming from a nearby church and asks a carnival worker to distract Tarquin and co. while she goes to deal with the mage herself. Inside the church, she plays it off like she has no idea what's happening and asks the mage waiting in the shadows if she's won. But when the mage unleashes his power, Nia is ready and disables the veil quickly. She then attacks him with a horseshoe that she stole from the carnival games and presses it into his face until he dies.
Which was metal as fuck, but also like, damn, girl.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, and it's not that like... So the Fae are weak to iron, and it's not like it burned through his skin, like into his brain. It's just, I think it zapped literally the life force out of him.
Yeah, I think you're right. Although I will say that my mental image was it like melting his face into his brain, which was really gory and gross.
Yeah, that tracks for
it wasn't
for how you're
described that way, but that's what I pictured. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, she killed him.
She did kill that person. Yeah.
She did murder him.
Moited.
So
just as she deals with the Veil Mage, Raphael arrives with a whole bunch of people in tow. Rythe, Naveen, Tarquin, maybe some more people. So Nia gives her report to Raphael, which results in Rythe getting reprimanded and dropping his intention to expel her. Great. Beyond this, Nia gets the highest marks for the Shadow Trial, as does Tarquin for some reason, because he's a snot, and so is Rythe, essentially.
Ugh. It's just fucking... What's it called? What's that word? When you're
Nepotism?
famous because your parents are famous. Yeah, it's just nepotism.
Yeah.
Like, stupid Rythe is like, well, Tarquin was here too. No, he wasn't. He was outside fucking around with like a puppet.
Right. And he allowed himself to get distracted. Like, they make this whole thing about in the beginning of this, like, oh, use your spycraft. You'll be graded on that, blah, blah. He should have gotten marked down for being distracted by something that his fellow cadet made for him. Like,
exactly,
because
she sets a trap.
Spycraft. Right.
Yeah. No, because he's an idiot. And I do like how frequently it is said, like, the Pendragons are just idiots. They all just get by because of their name. Yeah. But they all suck.
So the Shadow Trial is complete, and when we next see Nia and Tana, they are heading to the battle arena for their combat test. They have a plan to exhaust each other equally and make their test a draw. When they get to the field, though, unfortunately Rythe has other plans and calls Tana away on duty, pairing Nia instead with Tarquin.
Ugh, it's so slimy.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Nia's fucked, and she also thinks that she's fucked, but don't worry. She uses her mind-reading ability to get an upper hand on this dude. She not only uses it to know his next move, but she fishes for a traumatizing memory from his past to get into his head, which she finds and uses it. And I love that.
It's masterful.
Yeah. And
it's so good.
And her pulling this out of his mind, like calling back to something that really made an impression on him when he was younger, makes Tarquin go insane. Like, he becomes mindless, rage-filled, and like really open to mistakes. And Nia takes full advantage of those mistakes. She breaks his nose and his wrist before Rythe calls the battle over. When Nia looks to the judges, she can see the pride shining behind Vivian's smirk.
I love kind of the enemies to friends arc between her and Vivian.
I do too. Yeah.
I love it. Because, like, going into this combat, she remembers what Vivian said of, like, you're small and slow and you need to use everything at your disposal. And so she's like, got it. My mind reading abilities that I'm not supposed to use.
Right.
Check.
And
it works. And it's great.
Later, Nia watches Tana and Serana do what she had planned to do with Tana. After their battle, they are awarded their torques. And it seems like this happens whenever someone finishes their 4 tests, not like at a, like, all-encompassing award ceremony or something, which I thought was a little odd, but I think it makes sense because there's so many students. Like, just get them through the process.
Yeah, I had to kind of orient myself to that too, because it seemed really random, like when they were awarded, but
yeah,
it does make sense.
So Tana and Serana both get silver, making them Knights of the Round Table. Amazing. The next day, Nia has her magical trial. This is her 4th and final trial, and if she passes this, then she'll be awarded her torque. Raphael catches up to her beforehand with Naveen, and they can both tell that Nia's diametric powers are messing with her and making her feel like she'll fail. Raphael seems to think that Naveen can permanently quash Nia's mind-reading ability and offers that to Nia as an alternative, but she refuses, even though they tell her that Rythe has a Veil Mage and they're determined to make her fail. So instead, Raphael tells her just before she goes inside, quote, "You're a spoiled, selfish girl. I don't think I like you very much and never have. From what I can tell, trash is a perfectly accurate description."
I knew exactly what he was doing when he did this.
Yeah.
But also Nia's clapback was like, all right, girl.
Yeah. So, like, for Nia, she tells us internally, quote, "There it is. The blow I've been waiting for all along. The heartbreak I knew he'd deliver. My eyes sting and a lump forms in my throat. He's the same fucking Raphael he always was. The one who ruined my life all those years ago." And I totally am with you on, like, that I knew what was happening because I'm removed from it. I feel like she had to feel this in order to move on.
Oh, she did. And it's totally valid. And I'm not mad about this scene at all. In fact, again, this book does a really good job with the miscommunication tropes. Because, like, I see it. He is doing it to make you mad because he knows your power is stronger when you're mad.
Right.
You don't see that because he's feeding into the exact thing you've been afraid of. And I don't blame you for that.
No, totally.
But it's, like, fun watching the miscommunication, which usually I'm, like, screaming. At this point, I was like, I like this. I see what you're doing here, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, same. And, like, I think that's the most ringing endorsement we could ever give for a book, is that they did a miscommunication trope and we enjoyed it.
Yeah, they did it twice and we enjoyed it both times.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a little worried because you told me that it got spicy and this scene happened and I was like, I don't know how you recover from that. But then they do.
Yeah, and then they do.
But it's rough.
It's a little rough. So, speaking of rough, Nia feels a rage so profound that she can barely think straight. She tells Raphael, loud enough for everybody to hear, quote, "You've proven yourself to be the same self-obsessed twat you always were. You don't have to be wealthy to think you're better than everyone else, do you? To some people, arrogance comes just as naturally as breathing. And in reality, Raphael, I saved your ass more than once. You egomaniacal, solipsistic, stuck-up prick." Great vocabulary. "Do not speak to me again unless it's an order, unless it's life or death. You're not good enough to speak to me, and you never were."
And this is where I was like, I don't know how you recover from this, because, like, I know why he said what he said, but girl, you threw open the doors to the library, and I don't know how he's supposed to get over it. He's fine, it turns out, but I was like, holy shit, tell us how you really feel.
I know. I almost have the feeling that, like, Raphael is almost a little bit too even keel. I mean, he's a great guy. Like, I would want to actually be with somebody in this, like, in the real world. Like, he has good characteristics.
Yeah.
But I feel like in the context of a romantasy, maybe he's just a little bit too, okay, I forgive you.
Because, like, this is a hard stream of insults to just be like, no, I get it. I hurt your feelings first.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Totally understandable.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I'm glad that we didn't have to have the conversation again. But I was like, oh, shit, Nia. Ugh.
So she's
also, I really like the word solipsistic.
I do too. I'm not going to lie. I had to look it up, but.
I had to look it up too. I was like, what the fuck did you just call him? But like, it's great.
So Nia is so angry that her magic is able to break the Veil Mage's pretend veil so hard that that mage stumbles backward. And Nia goes into the veil, grabs the wand hidden within, and chucks it at Rye's feet.
No
of
big
course,
deal.
Rye tries to find a way out of this and tries to say that Nia cheated. So Nia is so angry that she combines her mind reading and sentinel magic together and finds her way into Rye's brain to control him and make him verbally reverse course. Nia is shocked while she's in Rye's brain at how empty it is and how simple he actually is. He's only motivated by status. And that's what I'm talking about earlier when, like, I love that he's just an idiot.
Yeah, it's just there's no thoughts. It's just I need to look good. I need the power. I need to maintain my position. But like beyond, there's no complex thoughts in this man's head.
Yeah.
And that was fun to see. And like she makes him reverse course and like correct, like, oh no, Nia's actually really amazing. She didn't cheat. Also, I'm just a mindless idiot. Like,
yeah.
She makes him just like self-deprecate, and it's excellent.
Yeah.
I can only imagine everyone in the room is like,
what the fuck?
The fuck just happened?
Yeah. It reminds me of like when Xaden and Violet like fight or like argue in their brains and there are other people around and they're like, okay, they're fighting, aren't they? Okay. Like, should we leave?
Should we give them some space? Because they're just like making eyes at each other.
Yeah. So when Nia's finished, she's cold from the magic exertion, and Rye accuses her of mind control. This has the opposite effect that he's intended, though, because he's just confirmed that Nia has primal magic, meaning that she gets an Avalon steel torque, not just a gold torque.
Nope. He thought she was going to get like expelled or condemned, and instead she gets the highest possible honor.
And I love that
only Merlin got.
I love that Eamon and Vivian, the other two, like, I guess, headmasters or whatever, they're the other judges of these trials. They're like, why would we not award her this? She's the most powerful, like, magic user. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Right. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Idiot. So much so that they don't even have a torque for her because like Avalon Steel is so rare, so they have to go like make one because no one gets them.
Not only that, but they can only be fired using dragon fire. So I'm like, I would love to understand who had the unfortunate task of going into the Fey realm and like ordering a new Avalon Steel torque.
Like, oh, our secret combat school that we don't want you to know about. Well, one of our students is really excellent and we need this necklace for her. Thank you.
And I'm definitely not going to kill you after you make it for me.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Maybe they have a dragon on retainer somewhere in Camelot.
One can only hope. So sometime later, Tanan, Serana, and Nia are summoned to the Knights' chambers for a meeting. All of the other knights are gathered there too, including Raphael and Ginevra.
Ginny Weasley.
Ginny Weasley. Including Raphael and Ginevra, who seem very close. And Nia knows that this is why romance is forbidden because she's all kinds of distracted. They are soon joined by Sir Kay, the highest ranking of them all, who tells them that they have a rare opportunity to infiltrate the Fey world and disrupt the Veil permanently by killing another Veil mage.
Vage mage.
Vage male.
Vag magician.
Vag magage. He tells them that there used to be 10 Veil mages, but they kept sending them on suicide missions, so now there's only 8.
Well, Nia just killed one like last week.
Nia killed both of them. They sent 2 Veil mages to kill Nia, and she killed both of them.
Whoops.
I'm like, y'all need to get, like, as soon as that happened once, I would have been like, ooh, someone else.
Back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sir Kay says that they need 8 veil mages to maintain the veil, otherwise it will fall. During this discussion, Tana is asked to share her visions of doom and destruction, and it's very clear that these are taken very seriously and that Sir Kay wants to avoid that future.
Also, none of the Pendragons are here at this meeting.
I thought that was interesting because, like, somebody makes a comment about, like, oh yeah, only the competent, blah blah, and I'm like, so then why are they even here?
Why even let them have positions of power at all? I had that question too. Like, Sir Kay is the leader of the army, essentially, right? And he appears and is like, yeah, no, they're incompetent. We can't have them here. Then don't let them be in power.
But then also Ginevra is a Pendragon, so
yeah, that's true. She's the only one allowed, but because she's competent, I guess. I don't know.
She doesn't seem very competent based on what we see, but it's just like, okay, I have questions about that.
It's weird. That was weird. I was like, it's weird that they're not here.
And did you have to lock Rythe up in the basement? Because I feel like he would not be happy to miss a meeting, and there's no way you would hide that from him.
No, exactly. There's no way. So what did you do? Did you send him on a wild goose chase just to get him out of the castle? Yeah.
So the knights are divided into squads, and Nia has the misfortune to end up on Raphael's squad along with Ginevra. Lucky her.
Awkward.
So we then see them on their mission, and it's clear that Ginevra and Nia don't get along. But Raphael and Nia are going undercover as a newly married couple on their honeymoon, staying in a cottage opposite the Veil Mage's mansion. So Ginevra is told essentially to fuck off. Awesome.
Whose idea is it to make them always newlyweds? Because this is the second mission where they're newlyweds, and I think it's Raphael.
I think it's Raphael. Yeah.
It's like, it would be a great cover if everyone thinks we're fucking.
If everybody thought we were going to fuck it. Yeah. So once they're in their cottage, they spy on the mansion, and it's not long until they have eyes on Caradoc, the Veil Mage. They settle in, and then Raphael goes back to meet with Ginevra briefly for information and to arrange a meetup point after he and Nia have succeeded in their murder mission. When he gets back, he brings Nia a piece of lavender cake. This prompts Nia to be like, the fuck? And he says, well, I remember that you liked it. To which Nia responds, quote, you told me that you don't even like me, so that's why I'm confused about the cake. You said that you didn't know what, quote, foolish notions got into my head. You said that you never liked me and that I'm a spoiled girl who grew up in chaos and knew nothing of the real world. That all of this was a game to me. So explain the cake, Raphael, because if it was all a ploy to bring out my power, why did you never explain that to me?
Fair questions.
Beautiful.
So
beautifully
good.
Done.
So perfect. Chef's kiss.
And it's here we learn that Raphael had been writing letters to Nia after the magic test and leaving them with Serana, who clearly did not pass them on. And in those letters, Raphael had explained himself. He said he did this because he knew that Rythe was watching and waiting for any excuse to throw the book at both of them.
Do you think Serana just didn't want them to get expelled, or does she have other ulterior motives?
I don't know, because Nia kind of takes it at face value that Serana was looking out for Nia's ability to focus and do well as a spy, but she's already graduated, she's already been given an Avalon Steel Torque, so I don't really buy that,
Me either. It seemed weird, and we don't go back to it in this book, but Nia doesn't question it, and I have some questions for Serana.
Yeah, and because of what happens, we don't really get an opportunity for Nia to ask Serana why, but I wonder if that'll come up in the next book.
Yeah, or if it's just a in passing thing.
One-line fixer kind of thing.
Yeah.
So Raphael goes on to explain himself now in person and says that what he said to her before her magic test was intended to make her angry so that she would succeed at her test. He tells her that he knows now that she uses her emotions to access her magic, which is exactly the opposite of how he operates, but it works for her, so that's how she should operate. He goes on to tell her that this is actually how Merlin is described as using magic as well. And this is where I started to think, well, maybe she's Merlin's kid.
That's where I texted you and I'm like, here's my prediction that she's Merlin's kid.
Yeah.
And I liked this. It's kind of subtle, but earlier Raphael's trying to teach her suppress your emotions, don't feel it. And then here he gives the, Berlin always wrote about using his feelings, and that never made sense to me because I'm a fucking robot. And I'm like, I'm glad you acknowledge that, like, there's other ways to use magic.
Yeah, and I'm glad that I mean, I really like how observant Raphael is. Like, he really comes across as a very attentive lover.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. That's why I say he's got really healthy traits. I feel like he might just be a little bit beige.
He's kind of beige crayon-y without being problematic about it.
Right.
Yeah.
So this news obviously makes Nia happy to know that he doesn't hate her. As they start to turn in for the night, Nia realizes that the guards for Caradoc's mansion are watching them, and they both realize that they must be suspicious that honeymooners are there and not making a ruckus. So they kiss for science or whatever. Like, they literally say back and forth, I'm going to need to kiss you for realism, for the mission, for England.
So we'll get into the scene, but I have a little bit of a problem with it, and I'm going to say it here. So it's so weird because they're watching the guards, and specifically they say that, like, they don't have any lights on in their cottage. That way the guards can't see what they're doing, namely spying on them. But then they're like, oh no, if we're newlyweds, we would just be like fucking all over the place. So, like, let's turn a light on and then kiss. So they do that. And then they turn the light back off. So, like, I'm sorry. You've been in the darkness for days. You're going to turn the light on for 5 minutes and then just turn it back off again and go to bed? Like, that's not suspicious to you?
Yeah. I had that same thought. I was like, you guys should have some lights on. Like, what if you should be in the kitchen or something? Like,
right. Or leave the, like... It was so weird to me. I was like, I think you just drew attention to yourself, but that's okay. Like,
yeah, this feels like it's making it worse.
Well, and it's kind of weird. It was sort of like it's like, we're gonna get hot and heavy. Let's turn the lights on, then we're gonna fuck, and then we're gonna turn the lights off and go to bed. Like, just what are you doing? What are you doing here?
Yeah. So they kiss, and they're both into it, and Raphael tells her that he's wanted to kiss her for so long, but it's against the rules. Nia asks about Ginevra, and Raphael tells her that Ginevra has no boundaries. So they give the guard a show, and then they blow out the lights and crawl into bed. Again, light on, light off, like, what are we doing? But they do make a point to say that, like, the guard kind of looks away uninterested, and, like, so they feel like they satisfied the curiosity or whatever.
Yeah.
So Raphael tells her as they try to sleep in different beds. Wait. Sorry.
I think Raphael's on the floor. There's one bed. It's a one bed trope, and he's like, I'm going to be a gentleman.
And Nia's like, I wish you wouldn't be a gentleman. They try really hard to just go to sleep, but they end up fucking because we all know what we're here for.
Exactly. Come on.
Raphael tells Nia that he fell for her when they first met all those years ago, and he's never met anyone so beautiful. And they have sex, right? And the scene is very specific. It's sweet. It's appropriately long. There's lots of good communication. And I love that there's like this one-sided mind reading thing because Nia can hear his thoughts, but he obviously can't hear hers. And it was a good delivery on the slow burn enemies to lovers kind of adjacent trope.
It was so good. And on the one-sided mind reading thing, she can hear his thoughts, but he kind of, okay. He knows that she's listening, right? So he kind of uses that and is like saying like all these like dirty, sweet, sexy things to her, like what he's imagining once he's aware that like she's reading his mind. And like, that just really did it for me.
Yeah, same. So we see them 1 week later and we learn that they've been staking out this house trying to find an opening in that entire time and fucking whenever they aren't spying, which sounds awesome. I wish we had seen more of the
show
fucking,
me the week. Yeah. I was a little sad. I was like, you're telling me that you're here for a whole week and I only get one scene.
Come on, girl.
But it's nice to know that it's happening.
I do wonder if we only get one scene because he's not endgame.
I mean, we've read books like that before.
Looking at you, Tam Tam.
Yep. Looking at you, Tam Tam.
Yeah. So then one day, Raphael comes back from a rendezvous with Ginevra, and he has some bad news. They are all compromised because another squad was discovered. So it's now or never, and they determine to try to kill Caradoc that night.
Also, this is a really, like, This book a few times, I mentioned it in part 2, where that one guy just gets killed in the combat trials, like suddenly and brutally. We kind of get that reminder here too, like, oh no, it's actually war, because they're spies, so they're trained not to get captured. So like the two who got discovered like slit each other's throats.
Yeah.
And Nia goes through this dark path of like, oh, I see now why love's not allowed, because like Raphael would have to, I couldn't kill him and I couldn't kill myself, so like he would have to kill me. Like,
yeah, it was really dark in here. And Raphael essentially was like, we don't have time to think about that. We have to do this thing.
Yeah, which I appreciated. But this book does such a good job of reminding you of the seriousness, because I kind of forget. I'm like, oh, this is fun. We're at spy school. And then I'm like, oh, we're at war.
Yeah.
Right.
But I also think the author, I keep saying author and I forget that there's two. The authors do a really good job of like using that as an opportunity to move the plot along, right? Like, because I feel like Raphael and Nia would have spent a lot longer staking out, air quotes, and fucking, right?
Oh, yeah. Because I kind of picture them like Feyre and Rhys just like fucking all over the place, like in the kitchen, on the floor, in the bathroom.
Yeah, definitely.
Not doing a whole lot of spying.
No, not a whole lot of work is being done. No,
because she even says like it feels like a real honeymoon at this point.
Right. And it's like, okay, yeah, we needed that little bite of reality.
Right, yeah, it was good.
So that night, they cause a distraction by setting their entire cottage on fire.
I mean, sure.
And it works because it distracts the guard long enough for them to get inside the fence line of the mansion. But once at the front door, they realize that they won't be able to get inside because there's magic on the door. So Nia mind controls the other guard to open it for them. Once inside, it feels eerie. And Nia tells us that she, quote, still can't shake the feeling that someone is watching and hearing us, that the mansion itself knows someone has intruded, end quote. And I loved that description. It was very ooky spooky.
It was so ooky spooky. And also like, yeah, girl, there's magic. It probably does.
Yeah. If I was this dude, I would definitely have my mansion somewhat sentient.
Right. And like there's wards and shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So Nia follows the feeling of the veil magic to Caradoc's room, but they burst into it too gung-ho, and Nia realizes that it's a trap too late. Caradoc knows that they are coming for him. She uses her magic to remove the veil from Raphael before he dies, but as she does so, Caradoc starts strangling her. When she thinks Raphael is safe, she uses what is left of her magic to plunder Caradoc's thoughts. She finds in him an ancient mind, but comes to realize that Oberon is planning an attack with an army immunized against iron. He will cause a distraction in the south of France when the real invasion happens in the south of England. Just as she gets this information, Raphael kills Caradoc. Nia tells him what she saw, and they flee for the human world to warn their friends and countrymen. But they quickly discover that no one is listening once they are there. MI-13 listened, but everyone is out in the field, and it will take far too long for them to pull back. And no one in the actual military gives a fuck, so they go to Dover themselves.
This again was such a good twist, because like they completed the mission, but in completing the mission, they like really just caused more harm than good, which is such an interesting plot device.
Yeah, because they saw, like, Nia tells us that, you know, this destruction of the Veil Mage and the Veil, like, essentially moved up their timeline. But part of me is like, I wonder if they were fed the information about the 8 Veil Mages intentionally.
I was wondering that too, because it does seem like there are a few points where I'm like, I don't think Camelot is as secure as they think it is.
Same.
And they're just playing both sides.
Yeah, I agree.
So like, not only did it move up the timeline, but they also get, I think you said it, but that they've been basically immunizing the Fae to like, now iron won't hurt them, which makes all of the guns obsolete, which is really the only way they had to kill the Fae.
Yeah, they talk a little bit about it when the invasion actually starts happening, but guns essentially work the same way as they do on people, but Fae are a little bit closer to immortal, right? So Nia says something, or maybe it's Raphael, says something to the effect of like, the guns still work, you just have to use more bullets.
Yeah. Which I did like that. When they were just iron, you didn't need more, but now it's like you shoot them enough and they're going down.
Right. Yeah. If you cut them in half using bullets, they won't be able to survive that. That is true. It just takes longer.
Yeah. And you better have pretty good aim.
Yeah. So when they arrive at Dover, they initially encounter a military commander who won't listen, but Nia quickly uses her mind control abilities on him and puts herself in charge. As she does,
rad.
That was rad. She was just like, well, I don't have time for this, and I don't want to deal with the morals, so we're just going to do it.
And he's like, Commander Nia will now be the specialist for us.
I have to take a nap. So as she does this, the alarm is sounded that ships have been spotted. She orders the evacuation of the city and instructs the military to focus their firepower on the weakest looking dragon. But even still, Nia and Raphael know that they're fucked.
Yeah, I get why they did that, but I was like, there's like 6 dragons or something. I'm like, okay, you take one out.
Yeah.
Then what?
Yeah, it felt hopeless from the beginning.
Yeah, it was also kind of sad because like she's talking about how I don't know where she got it or if she just deduced it, but like that this dragon was like old and kind of sickly and like not immune, and I was like, man,
I felt bad for the dragons, like because the images that she gets from Caradoc, like it's a painful process for them to be immunized.
Yeah, and a lot of them died in the process.
Yeah, not fun.
I was sad about this dragon.
I know. So once the Fae make landfall, they engage in the fighting and make some headway, but ultimately Nia calls for the retreat. She and Raphael know that they must make their way back to Camelot, and so they make a run for their boat to try and get back to base. But they're stopped in their tracks by a pair of twin Fae warriors, rather notorious ones at that, because Raphael is familiar with their names. The two of them fight valiantly, but Nia is bested by the woman and Raphael bests the brother, so they are at a standoff. The woman, Martisa, tells Raphael that if he lets her brother go and come with them willingly, she'll let Nia go. She even lets Nia read her mind to ascertain the truth. Nia finds out that they think that Raphael is the new Lady of the Lake and that Oberon is very keen to neutralize that great threat. So Nia reads, or tries to read, Martisia's mind and tries to overtake her, but she's too tired, and Martisia is actually, it seems like she's trained at defending against these kinds of attacks and like pushes Nia out of her mind.
Yeah, and even acknowledges it. She's like, don't do that. Like, is very aware what Nia's trying to do.
Yeah, which makes me think that she's probably trained with the Dream brother.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, which makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was intentional, but it was a little bit of comedic relief because Nia tries a couple times. And every time Martisia is like, I told you not to do that. Stop that.
I had
it just made me laugh.
I wonder if Martisia is being set up to be Nia's friend in book 2.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. I'm intrigued by that.
So Nia decides to lie and tells Raphael that Martisia is lying and plans to kill her anyway, so he should flee and not look back because she, Nia, is the Lady of the Lake and who Oberon is actually looking for. But Raphael is like, girl, I know. Of course I know.
Duh.
Like,
You're
amazing, and like you're the one that can stop Oberon. Of course it's you. So he tells her to go and that he'll be fine. Nia realizes that she can't talk him out of it, so she reluctantly gets in their boat and sails back to Camelot.
I had like this question here and kind of throughout this is that Raphael allows himself to be taken, but like we got that very clear instruction and imagery of like when they get taken they kill themselves, but she doesn't ever seem worried that he's going to kill himself.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I didn't consider that, but it is an interesting, like, why would you not immediately try to kill yourself?
Right. And even if he doesn't, I thought it was strange that Nia doesn't even like assume he would attempt to do so.
Yeah, she assumes that they're going to kill him.
Yeah, but I'm like, but no, he's a spy. They're going to take him and interrogate him, which again is why they usually kill themselves.
Right. And yeah, because that's worse.
Yeah, so it felt not quite like plot holy, but I was like,
Yeah, there's a logic.
You just showed me this thing, and now we're not going to do that thing?
Yeah, exactly. So Nia's back in Camelot, and we learned that their efforts in Dover slowed Oberon's advances significantly into England. And they also saved tens of thousands of lives. But Nia can't help but feel hollow knowing that she let Raphael get captured by the enemy. Her friends Serana and Tana comfort her, and Tana in particular forces Nia to do a reading so that she can prove to Nia that Raphael is probably okay. In this reading, Nia pulls the star card, and Tana tells her that it's been the same for her every time she pulls a card and thinks about Raphael. She tells Nia that if he were not coming back, that his light would be dimmed. And I don't know very much about the star card to know whether that's an appropriate reading.
Yeah, I don't know enough about the star card either. I don't think I've ever pulled it. So like I've read about it when I try and learn the cards, but like it's never come up for me. So I've never dedicated any thought to it. I could give it a goog. When the star card appears, you are likely to find yourself feeling inspired. It brings renewed hope and faith and a sense that you are truly blessed by the universe at this time.
Okay,
so
I like that.
Calmness, serenity, optimistic outlook. So that works.
Yeah, that super works. So the other thing about this conversation is that they give Nia the nickname Aqua Bitch because she's a lady of the lake, which is like literally everything.
I love that. Serana says that, and I'm like, yes, thank you.
Amazing.
Aqua Bitch.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Then one night we see Nia walking the lake because she can't sleep. She goes to Nimu's tower and looks around. She feels adrift and powerless. When she looks out the window, she sees a boat and decides to board it and row herself to wherever it will take her. And it wasn't super clear, but this boat was like ooky spooky looking, like ethereal, glowing kind of thing. So, okay. I wouldn't have necessarily gotten into it immediately.
No. It seemed like a big leap of faith to be like, I'm just going to see where this goes in the darkness on this water.
Don't worry about it. Okay.
It's fine. I assume I had to tell myself that like it's magic, right? So it was like calling to her. So like she couldn't fight it.
Yeah,
in some way.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And
but that wasn't clear.
I think she even does say that she feels a tug like in her stomach kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it was very clearly like magical induced. Like she's aware of that. But I was just like, she doesn't think about that very, very hard at all. Okay.
No. I just pictured that scary boat in, what is it, the 6th Harry Potter that like he and Dumbledore get in to like the scary island. And I was like, nope, a hard pass.
Yeah,
there's corpses in that lake for sure.
Big no for me, dog. So she gets in the boat and she rows, and she ends up in the ruins of Avalon Tower, which were originally lost to the sands of magical time. She hopes for a moment that this perhaps is where Raphael is being kept, but after a moment it's clear to her that this place is abandoned. Or so she thinks, because Mordred, of all people, soon joins her.
Kingslayer.
Not only is the Kingslayer alive, but he's been able to leave this cursed place every 100 years. He has a very different view of history and casts Merlin in the villain role and Arthur as the enemy of the Fae as well. He tells her not only is Oberon not his son, but he's Merlin and Nimu's son, and Nia is his daughter, and it is only he who can help her save Raphael. And that's where the fucking book ends.
Wait, I said this in the debrief, and I texted Katie this, but like, this was just nowhere on my radar that Mordred was a person that mattered. I thought she would be Merlin's son. I definitely didn't see Oberon as being Merlin's son. Like,
no.
And so who's the bad guy here?
Yeah. And I mean, like, what is the end game? Who's pulling the strings? Like, what does Oberon want? Like, I have so many more questions now.
I have so many questions. Like, what were Merlin and Arthur really planning? And
But you know what it does mean? She can get down with the Dream King prince, dude.
Because they're not related.
Because they're not related.
Also, we said this in the debrief, but I don't know if it's going to make it. But if this part is still here, any of you who came along this journey, obviously we're going to be reading the second book. We'll get to our ratings, but like, we're going to read it. If you were here for this book and you haven't read the synopsis for the second book, go do that, because she and the Dream King are definitely going to get it on.
Yeah. Yeah. Say. And I'm here for it, honestly. Like, I really hope that it turns into a Why Choose, but I think it's going to be Raphael's not endgame for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And like, and I'm fine with that. Why Choose would be the best option, but I just need her to get it on with the Dreamstalker.
Yeah, that would be great. And I mean, so we'll talk about it in our ratings, but like, you know, the sex in this book was great, but there was only one scene, and that's also something that's contributing to my suspicion that Raphael's not endgame, because you don't want to get too attached as a reader, right?
Exactly.
So, Yeah, the scream I screamed. I literally have dun 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 in my notes. Like I want to buy the t-shirt. I want to go to the movie. I want to be here for the show. Like,
yeah.
if we didn't have so many other series that we were finishing this year, I would be like, let's rearrange our schedule.
I know. I even floated that, and then I was like, there's no way, because we got to get through some of these series, but I cannot wait for the second one. Like, I cannot wait.
Same. All right, girl, let's get into our ratings. So how did we rate The Spice?
We both gave The Spice a 3. I think this is really because we just get the one scene, and it is graphic and lengthy and like detailed. It is a bit vanilla. It's super vanilla, but it hits all the things we like. I think for me it was a 3 because I wanted more, and I know it was kind of a slow burn. But this is just who I am as a person. You've heard me say this in other ratings. You can't tell me they had sex for a week and not show me them having sex for a week.
Or at least give me another like half scene or something. Like, give me a payoff.
Or some detail. Yeah. Or at least like tell me more about the week of sex you had.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
Yeah, fully agree. Great sex. Could have had more of it.
Can't wait for more in the second one.
Yeah. Which brings us into writing style. We both rated this a 5, and I can't really defend myself on that one. Be honest.
Honestly, I can't either. I feel like I'm sorry, you were gonna go through this, and I'm like, my turn to speak now.
It's my turn. No, please, by all means.
Okay, so if we've gone through with our other ratings, it probably should be a 4 because it's not the sparkling, lyrical, like, it is what it is. It's like, it's not like incredibly quotable or beautiful. It's just good. It's just good. There's no editing issues. It's just good.
Yeah, I mean, there's no editing issues, but also like it's not sparkling lyrical like T. Kingfisher, but there are some like pips of a line. Like,
oh yeah.
Like I but beyond that, right? Like it's not that I feel evangelical about the writing style of this book, but I do think that it is worth saying that this is literally the Fae Spy Academy camp realness, and this writing style is flawless. Like, I just don't think that like you would expect that from a book like that. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I think that's really the thing, is that I didn't expect it to be, I didn't really expect it to be good, period. Yeah. I certainly didn't expect it to be this good. Like, it's so good.
Totally. So, getting into quality of storytelling, speaking of grading on a curve, how did we rate this?
We both also gave this a 5. There are no plot holes. It surprised both of us in the end, which is very hard to do, at the very least to Katie.
Totally.
So to take
and it
us
got me
both,
twice, like, girl. 2 times.
2 times. That is unheard of in the history of books that I've ever read with Katie in the last 15 years of our friendship. So that's fucking incredible. And okay, really, really where this gets the 5 is that these authors did a miscommunication trope, and we loved it both times.
Yeah, girl. And I think we've talked
that
about
earns the 5.
I think we've talked about like some other things about like just how well the story moved along. Like, it really did the show don't tell thing. It didn't, like, there was not a scene that I thought could be edited out. Like, it was just great.
Yeah, the timing all made sense. We didn't get egregious like combat training. She was a real character. She wasn't just stunningly good with a dagger for no fucking reason.
Totally. And I had to check myself because I was like, oh yeah, it was like 300 pages of like a nonstop action. No, girl, this is 450 pages. Like, it did not feel that way.
Yeah. No, it didn't. I flew through this book.
Yeah, same. All right, so do we recommend it?
Yes.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Shocking. We're probably going to, we definitely are going to prioritize the second one coming at you January 2026.
Yeah, definitely.
Most likely.
Our goal this year is to finish a lot of the series that we've started on Patreon. And so with that in mind, we're going to start hot and heavy on this one next year. But
yeah,
We did it, guys. Those are our thoughts on Avalon Tower by C.N. Crawford and Alex Rivers. I feel like I kept forgetting that there were two authors here, and so for that I apologize. So it is both of them. That's on me. Sorry.
I did the same thing.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. What did you think? Let us know on the socials. You can find us on TikTok and Goodreads at Spice Traders Pod. And if you like our podcast and want more, consider joining our Patreon, where we release Patreon exclusive episodes on our off weeks. And if you really, really like us, drop us a review wherever you listen. Until next time, we'll see ya. Bye.
Bye.